Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to do this octagonal piece of wood that I received in a $10 grab bag from Michaels. My previous video was me unboxing what I got in the Michaels grab bag. So I will try and post that down below so that you can see that if you missed it. It was a good find. I got like 5 of these in the box. So today we're going to do a beach scene with this one. And I'm not sure if this wood is already sealed and ready to go, so I'm going to seal it just in case. I want to make sure that it's protected. I'm using this amazing sealer, multi-purpose seal for crafts and hobbies here. You can use any sealer. You can use Mod Podge, whatever you like, as long as it's a sealer. So I'm just going to start by brushing this on all over the wood just to give it a nice seal before I go and put my resin and resin and all that sort of stuff. And you don't need a super thick coat, just enough to, you know, give it a good seal. Nothing, you know, too crazy. And you're gonna want to let this dry for about a half hour or so before you move on to the next step. I am, however, going to try and take a shortcut and hope that it works, which I'm sure it will, is just use a hair dryer to help it dry a little bit quicker. That shouldn't affect the way that this sealer works or anything like that. So I'm gonna do that just for the purposes of this video so that I can get it out quicker for you. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this part a little bit because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me do this for another couple minutes or so. Alright, so the next step, I'm going to mix some epoxy. I'm going to do that off camera to save some time because, as I've mentioned in many previous videos, you need to mix it for like 3 to 4 minutes. So I don't want to waste time doing that with you guys. You've already seen it a million times. So I'm going to mix my epoxy and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I've mixed up my resin. And just in case if you guys are new here, the resin I'm using is by Hexigon Art. It's just regular, let me see if I can get it in the frame there for you. I'll link it down below. It's hard to kind of get it in the frame at the moment, but it's Hexigon Art resin. They're regular resin, no deep pour, no quick curing, anything like that. So what I'm thinking of doing with this piece here is I have these colored little glass pieces. They're kind of like glassy looking on one side. Let me see if I can get one out here. So this side here, I'm not sure if it's showing up on camera. Yeah, it won't focus, but sorry. So one side is kind of glassy looking and the other side is kind of like a greenish, maybe, oh, there you can see because I got more than, some of it looks like glassy and the rest looks kind of teal. So what I'm thinking about doing with this is adding it to my resin and putting it in the middle here, and then the rest of this portion that's indented will be like my my watercolors. So I'm gonna divide, I have about, I'm not sure if this is gonna be too much, but I have about 6 ounces of resin, and I'm going to dump about 1 cup. These are about 1 ounces. I'm not gonna fill it quite full for my watercolors, and I will show you what I'm gonna use for those in just a second. I'm gonna use mica powders. And then also I have a goldish color I'm gonna use for the sand. So, which will be like the sandy color. So, this side here is the bottom. There's a little piece that you can hang on the wall here. So this side is gonna be the bottom. And I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's pretty much, there's a little bit larger of a surface here than there is here. But I'm gonna make this part the sand, and then this part the water. And actually, you know, I take that back because I forgot, totally had a brain fart, that I was gonna use these seashells I got at the dollar store, and I was gonna put these up here and down here. So what I'm gonna do is make this outer portion the sand, and then in here I think the water. So just one of these will be the sand because I don't want it to be, you know, top and bottom. So just here will be the sand, and then up in here will be the water. And I'm not sure what color I'll do this with resin, but I'm gonna do it some sort of color and put the seashells on and kind of let it cure. So I actually might do this sand, and then I'll have, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do this sand and this part water, and then I'll figure out what to do up here. I'm not really sure just yet. The first thing I want to do is fill in, I'm gonna put those little glass beads in here. So I'm going to, so that they get properly mixed in with the resin and there's no air pockets or air bubbles, I'm going to dump it right into my resin and then dump it in. You could dump the rocks in there and put the resin on top, but I feel like that's more of a chance of getting spaces in between. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dump this in now, and just dump a little bit at a time, because as you can see it's starting to go over just a little bit already, and we don't necessarily want that. So like I said, I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time. If you do go over, it's not the end of the world, you can fix it. As I did right there a couple times. It's bound to happen, but we're just gonna go with it, and I'll fix it in just a minute. And I'm trying to go all the way up to that crevice right there. So that's perfect. And so now I'm going to scrape some of this stuff off where I don't want it, which is going to be right here. And if you still have a little bit of resin on there, that's okay, because I'm going to put more resin there anyways. I just want to make sure that there's no rocks in that spot, so that they don't get where I don't want them to be. All right. Not sure if I've showed this in a while, but I'm actually gonna take a baby wipe that helps clean up resin a little bit, and just go along the outside here to kind of clean up the edges. There. Like I said, it's okay, but I'm trying to make this as clean and neat as possible. All right, so I'm not sure if you can tell on camera. I probably could have put a little bit more of the crystals in there. I'm gonna put a little bit on top just because it does look a little sparse, like you can actually see the wood a little bit, and I don't really want that. If you do, that's totally fine. But I prefer not to see the wood that I've that's underneath. So I just add a little bit more. And I'm gonna put a top coat all over this whole thing once I'm completely done with it, at least in the intersection here. So if there's some glass sticking up, little glass pieces, it's fine because I'm gonna put another coat over it. I was trying to avoid that just to make it easier, but when you add the rocks in just like I did, you might get a little poking up. Okay, so I've actually got quite a bit of this left over with the rocks in it. So I am going to really quickly throw it in this mold here, which is just a coaster mold, because I don't want it to dry up and I don't want to waste all that resin. So I'm just going to throw it in there, and I might actually do some more of these because now that I'm throwing that in there, I'm like, that looks pretty cool. So I can't show you really because it's kind of off camera, but when it cures, you'll see at the end. Next, what I'm gonna do is start with my sand colors, and I'm gonna mix 2 different colors. I'm using, I don't remember what brand this is, but it's called Golden. And then I'm using Chameleon Powders by Tekaroos, Blue, Golden, Green, which is this one here. So I'm gonna mix those 2 together because this has a little bit more of a brown gold to it and this has more of a yellow gold. So I'm going to take just a little popsicle stick here and put a good drop of each into one of these. And then give it a good mix. And I may need to add more depending on how opaque or how translucent it is, because again, I don't want to be able to see the wood underneath. If you do, that's totally fine. You can do it however you like. But here it is all mixed up. And if you can, I think you can see on camera, it looks pretty opaque, so I think we're good. So now what I'm gonna do, and you wanna make sure actually it's mixed up really well, because if you don't, you might get little mica powder spots when it dries. So we mixed it up really well. Okay, so now I'm gonna pour the sand just here, and actually I'm gonna use, it might take a little longer, but I'm gonna use my little stir stick here because I do not want it to really overflow. And if I start pouring, it's going to just want to spread everywhere. So I'm gonna start just kind of neatly pouring in here. And actually I'm gonna pour on this side too. I may need to mix a little bit more, but I'm gonna pour a little bit and kind of spread it out. Doesn't need to be too thick of a coat necessarily. Like I said, you can always put a top coat over of clear. So I'm just gonna, and I don't want this to go over the edge either. So that's another reason why you wanna go slow and take your time and just kind of spread it out. And you know, I actually have, if I can find it here, I also get these at the dollar store. They're just little silicone spatulas. This is going to be easier to spread it out rather than a little popsicle stick. If you have a smaller space, and you can use the popsicle stick, but I noticed it was taking a little bit too long, so I wanted to speed up the process and get it spread out. So I'm going to use this to, any silicone tool will work. And if you're new to resin and epoxy, silicone is best. if you want to reuse, because you can just peel it once it dries, you can just peel it right off. Or if you use a baby wipe, it should wipe right off, and then just clean it with some alcohol to make sure that, you know, everything's clean. But as you can see, it just makes it help spread out nice and even. Okay, so we're good there so far. Now I want to dump a little bit more inside here. And just kind of get it into the corners and crevices. And I want to try not to get it over this edge. If I do, not a huge deal. But that's where I want to start my water, is kind of like at that edge right there. So I just want to move this nice and slow over to the edge so that it's not going over the edge. And if you like, you can, doesn't have to be like, there's a straight edge here, but you don't have to do that. You can kind of make it zigzag, whatever you want to call it. You know, make it look a little more natural, like a beach, but I just prefer, I'm gonna push it out to the edge. Okay, so make sure I got every little corner there. Get the sides. Okay, so now I also actually want to get this little corner right here. Perfect. So now I'm going to start with the water colors. And for those, I'm not sure which order I'm going to do it in. But I am going to use 4 different colors. So actually, I'm going to use 3 different colors. We are going to use this Snow Queen Chameleon powder. And then we're also going to use, what is this, Forest King, which is more of a teal blue. And then the last thing we're going to do is this Chameleon powder blue cayenne purple. I don't know if it's cayenne or cyan. I've always said cayenne. So we're going to use those 3 colors today. And I'm going to take my popsicle stick here and just put some of this in each one. And again, you know, you can put as little or as much as you like of each color. It just depends on how you prefer it to be. So far, I think this is looking good. I think it's going to look good with the seashells. So I just want to show you real quick too. I don't know if you can see this, but I didn't mix this very well on purpose, so you could see there's still a little powdery on top. So if you were to use it like that, you would see those powder marks when it dries. I just got some blue in with my gold, so I'm going to fix that really quick. This is what happens when you're working over the area you shouldn't be, but I should have started on the top side first, but that's all right. We'll make it work. Accidents happen, and this is just to show you how you can fix it. If there's a little blue in there, not the end of the world, but we'll be fine. All right, so I've got that fixed. So now I'm gonna keep mixing up my other blues here. And make sure I mix it over to the side here so that I don't get more. next color is lighter. It's kind of a darker, like a deeper blue, and the other two are kind of brighter, if that makes any sense. It's all right that I got this on here because we're gonna pour over anyways. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna have to do this very carefully. I have another small silicone stick here that I'm gonna use to try to put this blue. Now, when it comes to here, I definitely wanna use something smaller as opposed to that large silicone stick I was using, because I don't want this to spread everywhere. I want it only where I'm putting it. But I'm actually going to use this popsicle stick because it's a little bit easier for me. I think I can get a little bit more on there. There we go. Much better. Now I don't want to go too much here because you see I already have resin in the center of this thing, and it will just run right into it. So we're going to stop right there for now. And move on to the next color. So I'm going to do the next color over here. So I'm going to do this, which one is this? This is the Forest King. Again, I'm just going to drop it right where I want it. And just make sure you push it all the way out to the edge, like so. And I think I'm going to be able to get another project out of some of these colors because I wasn't sure how much this was going to take because I didn't measure beforehand. So I'm probably going to have a bit left over. Oh, and then, let's see, I'm going to put just a tiny bit up here to kind of have it coincide with what's inside there. There we go. Okay. All right, and then our last color so far is going to be the Snow Queen. So again, we're just gonna small amounts and push it over. All right, so far looking good. Okay, and then I'm gonna repeat the process with the colors that I used and go up here with it. So I'm going to, and with this, actually I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the corner here. I'm going to go repeat the process and go up with the with my watercolors. And here I can be a little bit more generous with my pour because it's a bigger spot. And here I'm actually going to pour kind of next to each other. And then kind of do a swirl maybe. Not a swirl, but kind of blend it in a little bit. So I'm going to kind of just mix like so. So that way I don't get like a harsh line. And again, you can do this any way you like. If you prefer it to be, you know, more defined and harsh lines, you know, it's all up to you, but I prefer to not see, you know, such harsh lines. And I'm going to try, I haven't really perfected this yet, but I'm going to try and add some whites for like a wave effect. Not sure how that's going to work. Like I said, I'm not really 100% good at that just yet. And as you can see, I keep dripping in here. So what I'm gonna do is just, I still have a little bit more gold, so I'm gonna dump a little bit just to kind of blend it out a little bit so it's not such a harsh blue line. And I kind of like actually how I'm swirling it. It gives like this swirly effect. It's kind of nice. All right, so now I need to figure out, I don't know if I want the glass to go up there. Because, you know, I've been putting the same color that's here on the outer rims. So I don't know if I want that. I think what I might do is, yeah, I'm just gonna pour the blues here for now. And just keep it blue. I think it'll look better that way. Just my personal opinion. And then we're just gonna blend this out a little bit. And you know what I am gonna do actually? I wanna raise this up a little bit, the blue, or the little glass, because I want that to be pronounced. Even if I put another coat of resin over here, it's not gonna look like it's raised. And I have quite a bit of that glass stuff left, so I'm gonna put just a little bit more in, and this won't spread as much because it's got the glass in it. So it'll help kind of hold it in place actually. Yeah, that's better already. Much better, I think. You just got to make sure that it's level. Much better. Okay. So I like the way that's looking better now. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to mix up just another small little batch because I used what I had. When I say a small batch, I mean like an ounce worth or so, maybe even less than that. Actually, probably like a quarter of an ounce because I just need it for the white to do the like the wave look. And for the white, I'm going to use a mica. This is mica powder. It's called Heidi. I'll show it to you in just a second. I get it from Little Leon Rose, which is, if you guys are new here, which is a company that I get pretty much almost all of my glitters from. They really have the best glitters for the price as far as quality goes. And I have tested other glitters from other stores like Target, you know, Michael's, things like that. Yes, they do work, but I find the quality not to be as good as the Little Leon Rose. So this is it here. It's like a flaky mica powder. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to my resin here and mix that in. Oh, I think this is going to be so pretty. And with this, you definitely want to drizzle it on because you want to put it in the spots where you want it to be. So I think for that, I don't really want to go over here too much. I'm going to go like up in here. Let me see if that's, actually I think I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to try adding a little bit of alcohol ink because I feel like that might be a little transparent. So I'm going to use this Pinata white and just add a couple drops to that and see if that helps, because I don't want it to be translucent. I want it to be, so that's a little better, I think. Yeah. So it'll still give it the shininess from the mica powder, but it'll also help not be so translucent. So I'm just gonna drizzle this across, and then once I drizzle this, I'm gonna kind of use my heat gun to move it around a little bit to create the wave. Wow, this is looking good so far. What do you guys think? I wasn't sure what to do with these when I got them, but I think they're really cool looking. It's just trying to figure out other ideas to do with it other than beach themed. I was thinking about maybe doing, you know, these would be good for people's homes that live, you know, near the beach, or I was thinking about maybe doing one with something about like the mountains or maybe the lake, you know, something like that. So there we have that laid nice and ready. Alright, not exactly as I was going for, but it looks pretty good. So we're gonna just leave it like that. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more of the blue here. I didn't quite fully cover that. Anywhere I see some bare spots, I'm just gonna kind of cover it a little bit. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is give a quick torch to get any air bubbles out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add my seashells where I want them. So I'm just gonna place these on here like so, just any old way that you want them, however you want to put them. And then can I fit one more small? I think I'm gonna leave it just like that with just those 4. I think that looks really good. Okay, so now, like I said, we're gonna let this dry or cure. And then I can put a top coat over it. So we're gonna let this cure and we will be back in just a little bit to, well, more than a little bit. It's gonna take overnight for this to fully cure. And then I can always add some more. Actually, I'm gonna do it now because I still have a little bit of white left. I think the white that was up here kind of disappeared. So I'm gonna put a little bit more. And it's still a little bit translucent for me. So if I do this again, I would use, I don't actually have any at the moment. Well, I've never had any yet, but is pigment paste, which is really good for resin. Getting color in there and making it so that it's not, translucent. I'm gonna blow this out just real quick. Alright, so I'm going to leave that like that. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but even though that the white is a little transparent, because the mica powder, which is this one here that I used in the white, is so sparkly that it just adds a shine to everywhere that I put it. And when I used the heat gun, it kind of went out, pushed it out a little bit, so it got the glitter into, or the mica powder. I sometimes call it glitter because it's so sparkly. But anyway, it pushed it out a little bit. So even though it's kind of transparent in some areas, I do like the way it looks. It just brought out a sparkle to it. So we're gonna let this cure and then we'll come on back and I'll show you the rest. Hey guys, welcome back. So here is the finished product. I think it came out absolutely gorgeous. There were a few little things like the blue ran into the gold here, which that's fine. It makes it look a little more natural. I love the shells in here. Not sure if I mentioned, but I got these at the dollar store in a big old bag. This bag right here, there's still quite a bit in there. I'm trying to figure out what to do with them because they have a raised part, so it's kind of hard to fit them into a mold unless it's a really deep mold. But anyways, I love the way this came out. Let me know what you guys think. I was thinking of either making this into a clock or maybe putting some writing up here like the beach life or something like that. Let me know if you guys have any ideas and maybe I can run with it. And if I do, I will show you guys in another video what it looks like. On a side note, in the beginning, I had some extra of this glass stuff left over that I used right here in the first piece. So I made it into a coaster. So I think it looks pretty cool. Very simple, but kind of cool looking. It is a little bit rough around the edges because the mold wasn't completely filled. So you can either turn it over, which looks just as good, which has a flat bottom because it was, you know, in the bottom of the mold. Or if you do like this side better, I can just, you know, sand the top. And it actually has a little bit of rough spots from the glass sticking up. So I could put actually another thin layer of resin over this, and then it would be flat and I wouldn't really have to sand it. But then I'd have to wait for it to cure. So it just depends, whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. You could either sand it, the edges, or put another thin coat of resin on top of there. So those are the two pieces I got out of this. I will post the video of me opening these guys that I got. It was a Michaels $10 grab bag, and surprisingly enough, it was actually a decent bag. Well, it's really a box. I don't know why they call it bag, but anyways, I'll post the video down below for that, and you can see what else I got in there. And let me know if you have any other ideas besides beach theme that you think I could maybe run with. And that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next